Born, build or destroy. God, equality, power, culture, understanding, wisdom, knowledge, cipher. Get excited. This podcast was brought to you in part by Merch Life Publishing.
What up, y'all? What up, y'all? How you feel? How you feel? It's Merch Life J, motivational, inspirational speaker for parentpreneurs across the globe. This is Motivision, episode 37, and we got an amazing guest this episode, man. Sister Imani Muhammad. How you feel? How you feel?
I am amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So,
Okay.
author of The Art of Living. The Art of Living, man. Let's first, what can you say about The Art of Living that that we both know that people don't really take into account nowadays? What would you say is the main idea, and what made you write the book in the first place?
Yeah, well, I think, let me first start off with, peace and blessings to all the viewers. And I appreciate the platform for just allowing myself and anyone else to, share the work that we've done. And I think one of the biggest things for me with The Art of Living, it actually was inspired many, many years ago. I believe that everybody has a story, right? Everyone should write their own book. Everyone has a testimony. And it's in our sharing of our testimony that we can inspire, that we can encourage other people. So I will say over a year ago, billionaire PA, who I call one of my virtual mentors, posted, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically his tweet was, stop telling people your story and write a book. And that really just hit me. And so I screenshotted it. I kept it on my phone as a screen saver. And I told myself I would not remove that picture until I wrote my book. So I had to have some internal motivation. So I wrote my first book, April 4th, 2020. And, COVID assisted with that because we were able to be in our house, at least I was, for 2 months before I went back to work. And so I wrote the book. So The Art of Living, for me, in summary, I believe that everything that we do is art. It just depends on how you define what art is. Jose Arguelles, who has since passed the earth realm, but he is a Mayan scholar, and he talked about how art is time, time equals, or time multiplied by force equals art, right? So what we spend our time on, what we spend our energy on, what we spend our thinking on is our art. Life is art. And so for me, that I wanted to emphasize that there's an art to living. And many of us, especially in the Black and Brown community, I don't think that we're living, we're surviving, right? And so what is true living? How do we get from the survival state, paycheck to paycheck, to actually thriving and existing and having abundance in life? So I wanted to call out that there's an art to living. Like there's a scientific way to live life. And so that's really kind of the premise of the title. And I'll pause there because I can keep going, but that's kind of where it came from and how it came about.
I really like that. I really like the title. I really like the book, to be honest. And I think most of the things that are in the book are things that some people like us may believe is common sense because we are around a lot of people with the same in the same realm when it comes to thought process. But it's a lot of people, more people, I believe, that are out there that really have no idea the things that we're talking about and how to actually live. So can you give them one thing from the book that would allow them to understand what you mean by the art of living?
Yeah, absolutely. So just real quick, my background, grew up in the church, Baptist church, Sunday school, all of that. And at age 16, I joined the Nation of Islam. And that was about 20 plus years ago. I ain't gonna tell everybody my age, but anyway. So my root is a Islamic background, but obviously finding ways to merge Christianity and Islam, right? So I'm a person that growing up trying to always find truth in everything. So for me, I've summed up kind of three principles that I believe are the art of living. So I believe that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are the three principles that I think anyone, no matter what your religion, what your deity, whatever way of life that you believe in, if you understand those three principles, it will help you advance your thinking, right? So knowledge, just definition of knowledge is like, I believe that everyone needs to have a base knowledge, and I call a base knowledge being a foundation. So everyone has to have a filter. If you don't have something that you filter your information through, then you will just be easily swayed by anybody. So somebody can give you
Yeah,
a bright
for
idea
sure.
and you be like, oh, yep, I'm gonna roll that way. Yeah. So you're easily swayed. So I believe that
Yeah,
everyone has to have
stand for,
something that they,
is it stand for if you stand for nothing then you'll fall for anything like that?
there you go. Exactly. And we see it every day with people,
Yeah.
right? They just, oh, yep, that sounds good. So they just jump in and they follow that person. And then the next
Right.
person tells them something good, so they follow that person. So it's like,
Yeah.
what do you really believe, right? And I think we see it all the time. People are not really convicted by their beliefs. And so I truly
Mhm.
believe that you have to find something that you filter information through, right? So whatever that is. For me, it's the nation, right? For me, it's the
Right.
teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when I hear, I can be in any circle, I can be amongst any religious person, and I can find truth in their words because I filter it through my base knowledge, which is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So
Right.
that's step one. Is have a knowledge base. Step two, once you get information and knowledge, you got to test it out. Is it useful for you or not? And that's what I call wisdom. So wisdom is like getting information and then applying the information, right? Testing the knowledge. I don't know how many
Right.
times we see a lot of intelligent people, very intelligent people, but they ain't got no basic needs met. They don't, the homeless brother or sister
Mm.
might be on the street, can science up everything, but haven't secured food, clothes, and shelter for themselves. So they haven't been able to apply the knowledge that they've received, right? So that's step two. And then step three is the understanding.
That's
So
a
once you're
huge
able
step.
to, absolutely, and once you're able to apply the knowledge, then from there you become a scientist. So you start evaluating, and you determine if that knowledge was helpful or not, was it useful or not, um, and then you continue to build on it. So I think those three steps again, and you can go deeper into those three steps, but I think
Hmm.
understanding, like having a concept of how you carry your life and how you receive information and how you apply information
Yeah.
is important.
But I did want to discuss the BWO and what's going on. Like how are you liking the vacation right about now?
We call this the bizcation.
The
Um,
vacation,
a
yes.
little business, little. It has been amazing. I'm still processing. I'm gonna be real with you. It's been, I had a moment in the middle of the night where I was like, I remember the brothers going live in December, like
Mhm.
telling us about BWO, like the concept of BWO, and then literally to be here in May, right, and just seeing, not only the founders but members from all over the world, here. I mean, it's literally like when you're able to see things come into fruition in
Mhm.
such a timely manner. It wasn't like 4 years later. It was less than 7 months.
Right, right.
So that in and of itself is inspiring. I think what's one of the things. First of all, Puerto Rico. Can we just talk about Puerto Rico real quick? I don't know who's been to Puerto Rico, and I said this in my live yesterday. I would never have thought about coming to Puerto Rico if it wasn't for BWO. Like, it's not like it was foreign to me, but it was never on my radar. Um,
Yeah, that's the other
but
side of the
it's,
country for you.
oh man, yes, and some mode travels and overnight stays, but it's so beautiful. It's like 85 degrees right now at 9:13. Um,
Mm.
the water is beautiful. The people are beautiful. It's wonderful. You do see now. We'll say you can see the colonization of
Yeah.
this place, and it's sad, but it's everywhere. But at the same time, oh man, you just can't, you can't get away from this beautiful sun
That's
and the
what
palm
beautiful dust
trees.
spreads.
Yes. Absolutely. But yeah, I think one of the things, like I said, I'm still processing some of the jewels and all the information that we got. But
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I will help or try to help people understand that, like, our people are suffering right now. Our people are excited
Mhm.
about a stimulus check that really ain't nothing.
They ain't nothing but
And it just
inflation.
Right. And it just shows you the mindset, like where we're at. And so, like, this wealth concept and building abundance and, um,
Yes.
helping us understand what true generational wealth looks like. To me, BWO is the art, besides the Nation of Islam. It's the art to help our people gain financial freedom, right? And so, like,
Yeah.
you got people right now not working. They don't know what to do with themselves. They haven't tapped into their gifts and talents. And it's like,
Hmm.
that's what BWO helps with, right? It helps with you
Exactly.
tapping into your own story. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of, Brother Ben's digital real estate
That's why I call it the nation outside of the nation.
all day.
Because it's waking a lot of people up, and they don't even peep. They still getting the teachings. They
Brother, let
still
me tell you
getting.
something. The amount of bearing witness this
Mm-hmm.
entire weekend from brothers and sisters who are like staunch Christians. Like, I was talking to a
Yep.
brother who's like, he's a preacher kid, and he was like, I never knew the nation had this perspective until Brother Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people are saying, well, I think I'm Muslim now. And I'm like, yeah, a true. is a true Christian and a true,
Yeah.
So it was so beautiful. I mean, that piece right there was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
mean, yeah,
Yes.
there's so much.
That's the Lydia's part for me too, because that's what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to me. And enlightenment happened. You know what I mean? And
Right.
now everybody on that wave. So get excited. I got to do my Savior's letter ASAP.
Right.
But
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. And I mean, the beauty too is, like, there's obviously registered member status, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's, um, those who follow, right? Like, so everyone, I think the beauty of the nation and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught to us through Minister Farrakhan is that it's universal. And so
Yeah.
there's going to be folks that are registered, there's going to be folks that study on their own. I mean, all of that. But the reality is, again, as I said before about the book, the foundation of the nation,
Yeah.
understanding that the black man and woman is God, and understanding that we're original people. Like that
Mm-hmm.
alone helps our psychology and helps our mindset,
Yes.
believe in ourselves and know that we can achieve whatever the heck we want to achieve with
Yes.
no limitations.
And knowing that we first and not second to anything,
Right.
anybody that was crafted. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Exactly.
the psyche of the black man and woman in America, the average, the normal, is always that we gotta follow behind or we gotta be. We can't do something until someone else does it, and that's not true. That's not true. We've been the first that. I mean, we were the first in existence, let alone that. But we've been the first at a lot of things that people have. Even if you look back at Thomas Edison, the guy that created the light bulb, his slave is the slave apprentice is actually the one that figured out how to make the light bulb. And he said, "Listen, I'm
Right.
going to take the credit for you, so they don't kill you." And then
Right.
and a lot of people don't know this, but it's in Thomas Edison's diary, it's in his journal. He said that. He said, "I
Mm.
take the credit because I don't want them to kill my apprentice.
Right.
He was going to kill him if they would have found out that they would have probably killed me if they found out that I taught him how to read." That man knew how to read, how to write. He knew. I mean, he knew enough to create the light bulb. You know
Right.
what I mean? So,
Right.
just things like that right there. It's
Right.
like it's mind blowing how we that type of information is hidden from us so that we don't know who we really are. You know what
Right. Because if you still think that all you are is a slave, then you don't even have a vision to achieve anything beyond that. So
exactly.
then we are dumbed down, and those in control can continue to control us.
Continue
When
to
you were
manipulate.
mentioning that, it was making me think of Brother Jake in the private banking. So just real quick, yesterday, all the founders, they did a Q&A, and then in the afternoon session that I happened to be blessed to be a part of,
Hmm.
was each of them speaking on their own kind of lane. So you had
Hmm.
Chris Cole speaking on cryptocurrency, and we can ask him questions. And then you had Brother Jake, private banking, and then the Q&A. So anyway, Brother Jake was talking about how, just reminding us of the banking system, and the banking system was created on our backs, right? And so, like, we are the reason that banks exist, right? We give them money, our own money, and then that we have to loan, that they loan us back to. I mean, like the whole system, right? But to your point, it's always the Black man and woman at the root and at the foundation to everything. But until we know those things, we still have a disconnect to our greatness, right? So we don't even understand that we can actually be the same bank that Wells Fargo is, right? We can be the same bank that Chase and all of, their family institutions.
And the way I put it for my children, because they're kids, they got to understand things from a child's perspective. And I like how Farrakhan told me once before that he meets a man where they are. He don't try to do nothing like that. And this is what I do with my kids. I got to meet them where they at. I'm like, yo, you are the Infinity Stone. You are the Infinity Stone. You don't need to go defeat Thanos. You just need to be yourself. Just be you. If you know who you are, then you'll understand how the Infinity Stones are just are just a duplicate of you. He's trying to use your power against you, the devil, the evil, the enemy. You know what I mean? Because even if you look at the Avengers, all the Infinity Stones that he had to collect, he had to go get them from the Avengers before he could use them.
Right.
Just think about that. Think about that. He wasn't even in power until the Avengers submitted to him. He never had any power. He started off powerless.
Right.
And it was given to him from the people that he was trying to defeat. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's the same thing that we're going through.
Absolutely. And there's lessons in all the movies. Hollywood tells on themselves, but
every day.
If our third eye is not open, we ain't gonna see it. But yeah, it's like the meme that I don't know if it's a meme, but I guess it's a meme where it's the Monopoly board and it's got us underneath it, and all we gotta do is stand. I mean, that's the same concept.
That's the biggest one, yeah.
It's like once we understand, and that's again why I love the nation, of course, and BWO. It's like it's teaching us to be gods, right? Teaching us to be, controllers of our own environment. How you doing?
She's just so nosy.
That's fine. It's all good. But that's the thing. It's teaching us to take control of our own life and our own mindset and our own destiny, and at this point in 2021, we just have to be done with serving things that are other than ourselves, and that's everything, And when 19 Keys breaks down slave ship to ownership to rulership to mothership, and he broke it down yesterday. So I mean, I've understood the concept, but when he talked about the rulership piece, so now the money doesn't own me, right? The institutions don't own me. I now rule them, right? So they serve me. And then, we have to get into that mindset where all the things that we use, quote unquote, we rule over them as opposed to being owned by them, right?
Yeah, because we already do. Like, even if you look at how crypto is set up or how money is set up,
right?
Not with fiat currency, because we don't control, the supply and inflation and stuff like that. But when it comes to crypto, as a group of people, we can literally manipulate the price of a cryptocurrency.
Exactly. And we've seen it. Yep. We've seen it in the last 2 months, consistently.
Exactly. We have seen it done. So if you buy, if you buy enough and you got enough people that bought enough, and then we all sell at the same time, the price is going to drop. What did that mean? That means we all go buy while the price is that low. And then when it goes back up because people see it that low, now we in the money again. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's us manipulating and having control, of that currency. In that
we
market.
just got to have enough people together that's willing to do it at the same time, and that's what BWO is about right now.
All day, And one of the things that it'll come out soon, but I can share with you on this platform, of course, that they BWO founders are really close to launching our platform for Forex and cryptocurrency. So to be able to trade on our own platform. So that's coming like days away. So that's going to be dope, because all the platforms that we're using, it's through somebody else. And we have to, a lot of people that want to be part of BWO are outside of the country. So they can't tap into, Coinbase or some of these other platforms to trade. And so BWO will have the first Black-owned platform that will be able to be used internationally. And so that's a game changer right there. That's happening.
That's a super game changer, because now at that point, it's no reason why any black person shouldn't be involved
Come on.
in currency outside of fiat currency. And I keep telling people now, they like, no, that's just a fad. It's gonna go away. It's this, it's that. It's gambling. It's like stocks. I'm like, even stocks ain't gambling if you really
know what you're doing.
Yeah, if you really if you really know what you're doing, it ain't gambling. Gambling actually.
Man,
that's the only thing that's actually gambling.
Right. And I said, the thing is I had a conversation with my brother about cryptocurrency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't gonna go into the details because it was anyway. But I'm like, digital currency has been around long before we gave it a name, right? Like banks have been using digital. When you take a paycheck and you go deposit it into your bank, it literally turns into numbers, electronic numbers. That's digital money. I mean, like the concept of digital money has been around since banks were instituted. Like, stop it, people. So
that's facts.
Yeah. So I mean, when you and I tell people, like, to be wise is to diversify your portfolio, right? Mm-hmm. So nobody should have 100% of their investments in crypto, but nobody should have 100% of their stocks, their investment in stocks either. So exactly. it's a platform to diversify, right, your portfolio so that you can build abundance and wealth. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to never have your eggs in one basket anyway. What if you drop that basket? What if somebody exactly. accidentally drops a hammer on top of your basket? Now what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
and one of the things too, I think that, I mean, some of us are gonna follow things just on blind faith because we know where the information is coming from, right? Yeah. But the majority of us don't do any research on our own, right? So one of the things that Brother Ben mentioned yesterday. Hold on. Okay. One of the things that he mentioned yesterday, he said, everybody's asking Chris Cole, what should they buy? He said, but nobody's really asking, why should I buy it? He said, let's get beyond what should I buy? Because that just means that FOMO, fear of missing out. So you just want to go on to the next and the hottest thing. Mm-hmm. But you should be asking, why is Chris Cole saying buy, Polkadot and Veracity? Like, what does he see in the white paper that makes him make those choices and those decisions? And so I just use that as an example too. Like, we have to get out of this mentality of like being told everything, and just waiting for someone to give us information. Like, stop.
And that's what I like about the nation too, absolutely. Because you got to be able to, like Brother Daniel told me, like, we don't, you know what I'm saying, we don't create dummies. So he told me, even if I'm telling you something, even if I'm saying it to you, you still need to go look it up.
Go do your research.
You need to go do your research because at the end of the day, I'm a human being. You know what I'm saying? I have flaws and I'm gonna make mistakes. Now I'm not gonna lead you in the wrong direction intentionally, but I would like for you to understand that if I tell you something, I might be telling you that just to see if you're gonna go look it up or not. And then I tried that with my son. Just say something to him and make it sound good, but it be the wrong thing. I'm like, go ahead, grab that pan out the oven and put them nuggets on a plate. I didn't say nothing about an oven mitt. I didn't say nothing about protecting yourself. But he opens and he's like, let me grab this first and then grab the pan. Yeah, because you're thinking for yourself. That's what that's a big thing for me because I feel like because Islam's not even a religion, it's a way of life. It's like
absolutely
the beginning of everything. There is no that you can't backdate where it started. You know what I'm saying? So So like with Christianity, there's an actual date that it's there's an actual date in history books that it started. So I be trying to explain to people that every other institutionalized religion will tell you, hey, listen to this and don't look it up. And this is what I said, and that's it. But what do you think? Why do you think the difference? Why do you think the nation is like, yeah, I told you this, but I want you to go prove it for yourself. I want you to go know for yourself. And I can respect that. I really respect that because that's not something that that's something that you should really be aware of. If somebody is telling you, hey, just follow me blindly. Like, why do you want me to do that? What are your real intentions that you don't want me to know? Because like with your kids, if your kid's an 8-year-old asks you a sex question, you're not going to tell them the truth. You're going to tell them what you feel like they need to know at 8 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what the government does to us. But with the nation, it's like, listen, it's all here. It's all available. You know what I
Right.
mean? I don't have anything to hide from you. I want you to know.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
and that's for me, like hearing that, how I interpret that is like that's the God concept, right? We're
Mhm.
taught to be scientists of our own lives. And so I shared this yesterday. You know, the scientific method is the perfect example of how we should be living our lives, right?
Yeah.
I don't know all the steps right now to share with everybody, but you know, you have an idea, you get a hypothesis,
Mhm.
you test your hypothesis, you analyze your results, and you go back and do it over again. You continue to live,
Yep.
you know, your life like that. And so like
Until you can
again,
do correctness. Yeah.
right, because that's if you're a scientist, that's what you do. And so we have to be first masters of our own body first. You know, we want to master everything outside of us. We want to go tell everybody what to
Mm.
do, but we still ain't mastering our own self.
That's a
So
gem.
that is the to me that's the separation between the reality of God being a human being versus God being a spook. Because when you accept that God is living and is inside of every one of us, then you are obligated now to learn what that means. What does mastery truly mean, right? What is understanding how my body works? And I bring that, I said this in my book. I write about it in my book about, you know, we have to really truly understand the body. The body is mathematical, right? Like the
Mhm.
two arms, two legs, two eyes, two, like come on. This is
Right. Right.
a perfect organism, right?
Yes.
That's the human body. But
Yes.
what is it
In itself,
about
all of that.
yeah, like the whole circulatory temple? You didn't wake, I mean, you might have woke yourself up, meaning here, but you don't tell your lungs to continue to breathe. They do it
Crazy.
automatically. Your heart
Exactly.
continues to beat. So what is that force that you didn't call into existence consciously that
Mhm.
allows you to still be here, right? So
Mm. Mhm.
that's that universal God factor
Yeah.
that lives in within us. And so again, until we start seeing ourselves as God and not the big G, because neither one of us brought the sun, moon, and
Right.
the stars into existence, and we know that.
Right.
But the source that we are connected to did. And
Yeah.
so we're the little G, which means our body and our mind is an example of what can be brought into the existence like the universe was. And
Hmm.
so, but as long as we're still taught to be a slave, that's why we still live on this horizontal plane. But the moment we stand upright, like Abraham, right? As long as we stand up and become upright, then we now begin to tap into the heavens, right?
Yes.
Which is that God factor. And now we
Yeah.
go from just existing to actual living, right?
Hmm.
To actual um, producers of our own existence, as opposed to letting
Yeah.
somebody produce their existence and their dream for us.
Definitely. And that's just like with entrepreneurship. I always tell people, hey, if you don't follow your dreams, you're gonna work for somebody who did.
It's one or the other. You either following your dream or somebody else's.
Yep.
And it's as clear as that. And we don't have to be all, you know, spooky about it. It's
Yeah,
exactly what it is.
that's exactly what it is, and it's like when you think about it that way, you understand that heaven and hell are not a physical
Mm,
place to go to. It's actually a
mm,
mindset because you being in hell is when you know when you depressed and you feel like Jim Carrey said that it's your avatar telling you to stop trying to pretend or do what you're doing and be yourself and do what you're supposed to
mm,
do. You're not walking in your purpose when you're not walking in the will of God. When you're not submitting to the will of God,
mm.
you become out of line. You become crinkled. You become annoyed and agitated because you're not where you're supposed to be. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not
Right.
in alignment with what you're. That's why they call it disease because when you have a disease in your body, it's at dis-ease,
Dis-ease.
and that's
Absolutely.
exactly why you feel the way you feel because you're not in line with what you're supposed to be doing or where you're supposed to be at. And I really,
Right.
really appreciate you saying that because that's a
And
gem right
I'm going
there.
to share this. You've probably heard this from Chris Cole from BWO, but I'm going to say this for the viewers. The Hebrew meaning of the word sin
Hmm.
is off target.
Hmm.
So just to what you said, when you off target, when you're not living your purpose, when you following somebody else, when you just whatever you doing, when you off target,
Yeah,
you're actually committing a sin. Who are you committing the sin against? Yourself,
yourself.
your own purpose, your own dreams, and your own aspirations.
Yes, because
So
you're outside of
again,
the will of
but
God.
with
You're outside of your higher will.
absolutely, but what are we taught that sin is? Right? You grow up in the church, and I ain't gonna say it's not transgression of the law because it is, but we're taught of sin to be this spooky thing, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
sin to be this thing of like all these acts, and no,
Yeah,
when
because
you
I
ain't
was a
doing what you're
junior
supposed to be
deacon, so
doing,
yeah.
Yeah, when you just ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, when
Right.
you're off target. So again, it brings these terms that we've been taught on the spooky level. It brings these terms to just reality. And like I said, when you know that you are a God, that everything that you do is about manifesting your purpose and manifesting your will. And the reason why we do this, and let me just say this, the reason why it's important for us to live our purpose is not for us as a selfish person. When we are living our purpose, brother, when you live in your purpose, when I'm living my purpose, it's for those who are around us to see an example
Yep.
of what it means to live your purpose. So we become little messengers to our people, our children, our family, and to the world.
Yes. Oh
And
my
when we
God,
choose,
that's so
and when
powerful.
we choose not to live our purpose, we also become that type of messenger too,
Yep.
right?
Ooh.
So,
Ooh, I didn't think of it that way. That's even wow. That's mind blowing. That's super facts though, because like you said, one bad apple could spoil the bunch, or one Moses could save the whole kingdom. You know what I mean? And I wanna bear witness to that too, because since I've been here, my house burned down in like January.
oh wow,
I was back in Philly for a while, but I've been here about 3 months now. I'm at my sister's house. Since I've been here, my sister stopped eating pork. I never told her to stop eating pork. I ain't say nothing to her.
right,
I ain't even put it in her head. She just watched me. She seen the clean glass, and then she looked at
next
her
to the
glass.
dirty glass. Come on,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just.
yep.
Why he always awake? Why he always got energy? Why he always thinking clearly? Let me leave this alone because he said he don't do that. I'm gonna just do this too. And then
Come on,
and she said it to me. She was like, "Yeah, so I ain't eat pork in like a month now," and
yep.
gave me a high five. I was like, "Oh, that's why that bacon's still in the refrigerator like that."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely,
I might want that.
absolutely, and that's
Yeah.
proof. I mean and that can happen every single day of our lives, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Being that example, living in your purpose.
absolutely, absolutely. And our children, thank you for that. Yes, whatever she said. Thank you for that reminder, because our children um, will be a test to us, right? Our children will either be a testament
Yeah.
or a test, right?
Mm.
So our children will be an example of how we live our lives, and be a testament, or our children will be a trial for us because we ain't doing what we're supposed to be doing. So that's another piece too of like the
Oh my
work
God.
that we do and living our purpose. Again, I keep saying it's just is not from a selfish standpoint.
Yeah.
I do say be selfish with your vision, because we do need to be selfish with what we believe God gave us. But
Mm.
after you do that, your life becomes a testimony for the world. Your life becomes a testimony for those that are around you and that are influenced or experience you and impacted by you.
Mm-hmm. Shh. Be quiet.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, BWO is just amazing. Um, the
Yes.
conference was amazing. Puerto Rico is amazing. I'm still here for a couple more days.
Listen,
So
I can't even. I'm coming to the. The next one is in October and it's in Hawaii. They got the tickets up already.
I don't even know nothing about the next one. What?
Yeah, that thing in
Oh yeah,
Hawaii.
well you got to go. You have to go.
I am. I'm what? I'm there already. I'm
Right.
already there. They said 500 to secure your spot.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's nothing for a Hawaii trip. I'm just trying to figure out who I'm taking with me because I got 4 children, and I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
I bring kids or not. But I do want to bring my oldest one. He's definitely very impressionable. He know how to edit content and everything. He's a grown man.
Oh yeah, you got to bring him. You got to bring him. So there were children here to yesterday, and actually one of the sisters asked the founders a question, and she brought her 14-year-old. And she said, do any of you all have advice, for him? And it was a whole lesson. They brought him up. He got the mic, and they just walked him through. They asked him what he wanted to do with his life, his purpose. And Brother Ben just gave him all types of jewels, and 19 keys. But it was a beautiful experience because for me, with my 9-year-old son, I'm able to take those same questions and go right back home and start asking my son,
Yes.
what do you want to do? Who do you, and one of the things that he shared, he said you have to ask your children to imagine their life. So he asked the brother, what do you want to do? He said, I don't know. Well, what are you good at? I don't know. It was I don't know. And he's a teenager. But then Brother Ben and 19 Keys kept telling them brother, you have to imagine your life. And they got it out of him after they kept asking him questions.
Yeah.
But the lesson that I got was, start now with my 9-year-old, start now with your 6-year-old, your 4-year-olds, and begin to ask them, what do they think that they're good at? We're taught in the Nation of Islam that, Master Prophet Muhammad knew his purpose at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Well, if he knew his purpose at 6, first of all, what was he doing? What was his parents doing?
Right.
What kind of conversations were they having? Was it, go
ahead and buy playing Roblox for 8 hours?
I was just about to say, go buy some V-Bucks and Roblox. No,
yeah, that's not what he was doing.
Right, they was having scientific conversations, right? Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things that I left, and I was like, I got to be very intentional with my son, and he's 9, he's sharp. He wants to create his own YouTube channel and all of that. And they were saying too, and I'll say this too for those who ever listening, when you can get your children to identify their purpose, now they're not going to be, for those who celebrate Christmas or whatever the holiday is, they're not going to be asking for, the J's or the random gift card. Like, they're going to be specific, So if you want a YouTube channel, then you need to start asking your parents about the camera, right? You need to start asking your parents for a laptop, a hard drive, different things to help with the purpose, so that by the time they're 18, they got their whole platform ready to be in business.
And that's what's going on over here. That's why he got the Facebook, he got the TikTok, he got the YouTube, he got the gaming equipment. I'm just waiting for him to actually, want to do like he loves playing video games, but I haven't figured out what it is that I think he wants to play baseball. Like, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. That's why you gotta try a bunch of different things and let them be exposed to different things so they know what they like.
Exactly. And then so I didn't do the Junior Wealth Academy that Chris Cole and 19 Keys did, but they brought it up yesterday because a brother asked a question. But apparently in there, 19 Keys talked about how to give your children a title before they turn 18, the title of an author, right? And so he broke down 10 different ways for them to write their book and break up, like basically create 10 products from just them telling their story. So he said, a children's perspective, they may not be an expert, but get their perspective on a topic, right? So they, let's say it's Roblox. So you record them, they're telling all that they know about Roblox. That becomes a children's book. You take that interview, you transcribe it, find somebody on Fiverr, transcribe it.
My son is
I know you know. Exactly.
Yeah. He's a video author. That's what's up. I like that though, because I'm gonna use that. Mm-hmm.
And then once you transcribe it, then you take excerpts. So you write the book, then you take excerpts, you make it an MP3. So now it's an audio. So now it's a podcast. So he and I guess they taught all of that in Junior Wealth, in the Junior Wealth standard. So they're getting ready to bring that back up in July. But I mean, that's just that in and of itself was another motivation for me to take it back home, right, and have my son start, tell me everything about Roblox or whatever. My son is fascinated by the Titanic. I don't know why, but he's so fascinated by the ship and how it's whatever. He can tell me all about it. Great. Mm-hmm. That's going to be his children's book. You know what I mean? And again, it's not that he's an expert. It's just that he's sharing his perspective on that topic. So, and that's the thing. We have to start feeding our babies, like feeding them their gift, right? Because like the Bible says, your gift will make room for you, right? Your gift will provide for you. So, let's start providing our children with the tools and the resources that they need to activate their gift at an early age. Let's have them go further than where we are.
Definitely. And let's give them that head start, because we ain't I don't know what age you got started at, but I wasn't even aware of knowledge of self until like 26. You know what I mean? I'm 29 now. So, 27, because I met Brother Ben in 2019, and that's when it started. You know what I mean? That's when because I done been a gangbanger. I done been everything you see on MTV Raps. I done been all of that. You know what I'm saying? And it comes full circle back to what I'm supposed to be in the first place. And it's like,
and brother, you're young though.
It feel like I'm living a second life though. It really does.
Absolutely. So in full honesty, I joined the nation at 16, right? So I have more life of struggling for balance of Islam versus not. So I got that, right?
Yeah.
But true financial understanding, I didn't get that until what am I 40.
Mm-hmm.
My 41st, well, around my 41st birthday. So December is when BWO jumped off. I just turned 41, and now I finally feel like I understand finances at 41. You know what I mean? And it's really, I mean, whenever we get it, it's right on time. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
other piece too. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we got to understand that,
It's
not to beat ourselves up, right? And be like, okay, well, this is when I got it. There was a sister today or yesterday at BWO. It's an older sister. She's 60 years old. And she said, I'm in this for my grandchildren. She said, I'm not in this for me. She said, I'm in
Yeah,
this to make sure that my grandchildren are secure. And she said,
yeah.
there's a bunch of young people in BWO. And she said, she said, I wish I would have got what you all are getting at your age. She says, but I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my grandchildren. And so, like, just to hear that perspective, there's a couple, it was
Yeah.
about 10 or 15, over 60-year-olds.
That makes me so happy because the elders, oh my God, closing the gap. When I tell you, man, listen,
Yes.
listen, I'm a motivational speaker and a public speaker, and I lie to you not. When it comes to top 10, number one, top 5, whatever you want to say, Farrakhan is the number one speaker.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's my favorite speaker of all time because you can be any age, anywhere, any walk in life, at any stage in life, and he has something for you. There's nobody else out there like that. Nobody. I don't care if you Les Brown, TD Jakes, Eric Thomas. Like, I don't resonate with the rest of them. It's certain lectures that I hear and I'll be like, all right, he had a point. But there's other ones I fall asleep on. You know what I mean? With Farrakhan, it's like every time he's talking, it's exciting to me.
Absolutely.
So, that's so crazy. That makes me so happy because if a 60-year-old is in there saying, I'm here for my grandkids, imagine if a 25-year-old is saying, I'm here for my grandkids.
Right.
Do you know what that does for us as a people, for the next generation? Oh my God, because it's only going to spread. It's only going to get from the 25-year-old to other 25-year-olds. And now they talking about for their grandchildren too. And then that's right there is, that's how you build a civilization.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That makes me very excited.
Right. And one of the things, so, they talked about, Chris Cole talked about, so the question came up of why they changed the name, or did they change the name from Bridging Wealth Opportunities to Black World Order? So they broke that all the way down. They're like, it's always Black World Order, but before you have the Black World Order, you got to have order. You got to have order to the Black World Order. You got to give folks a platform, right? So the wealth piece is what he said. You can't go to war without finances.
Facts.
So you got to build wealth before you go to, I mean, it's just, for those of us that get it, we get it. We know it's already Black World Order all day. But one of the things that Chris Cole talked about,
we know we at war anyway.
Yeah, like, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. Y'all shouldn't even be tripping over the name. But people left. That was what they were talking about, how people, when they started promoting Bridging Wealth Opportunities, folks left. Like, people were leaving because they couldn't. Oh, well, it ain't Black World Order no more. Like, just immature. But
like, it's always Black World Order. That's what my clothing brand exemplifies. Yark, you already know, because I be around Christians, Islam. I be around Christians. I be around Muslims. I be around the Hebrew Israelites. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Be around anybody from any religious walk of life, and I be trying to explain to them that the enemy don't look at you like an Israelite or a Muslim or a Christian. The enemy looks at all of us as the same.
It's the same.
So we should look as the same thing, regardless of what we believe. And that's why the fist is the symbol. You see the symbol in the right-hand corner is you already know, because of what's understood don't got to be explained. If I see the cop with his needle in your neck, my insurance is going to take care of my kids. So at the end of the day, I'm going to take care of you. People be like, oh, I wouldn't have jumped in the George Floyd situation because I can't die. Listen, bro. Listen, when I die, that's going to actually set my family up to where as though we don't even got it. They're not even going to have to blink an eye to bury me.
Right.
But I'm not going into it wishing for death. I'm going into it wishing for life, meaning I'm trying to save your life. So that there, that backing that I have is enough to make me be able to go do that. Right. You're saying you're scared to do that because you're going to lose out on this, or you're not going to be here for your kids or this or that. Right. I'm going to live forever. I'm already a legend if I die today.
Exactly. And that's, no, they don't. And that's the thing, Chris Cole talked about when he talked about the first call when they called him, when 19 Keys called him up to get on the Zoom call to meet Brother Jake and Brother Ben, right? So he said he was on the call. He was kind of sitting back because he was only going to work for 9 months when 19 Keys pulled him out of retirement, and he was going to be done. And Keys was like, no, let's. I got a phone call I want you to be on. But it goes back to what you talked about in terms of building legacy. Like Chris Cole said, he said, I'm only going to do this if we're all willing to build a $1 billion company. And the only way we can build a $1 billion company is that we build 1 million or 1,000 millionaires.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about how those of us currently that are in, that we're in Puerto Rico, but the members of BWO will be those first 1,000 millionaires. But like, to understand that concept, so it's not about that the business needs to be $1 billion business on their own, right? Gaining capital, funds, and all. No. They're $1 billion business when they can reproduce themselves, right? Into 1,000 people who become millionaires.
Right.
Like if that ain't true hand me down, like in its righteous sense, like let me bring you up with me, like come on. And that's what I don't.
And I'm waiting for Hov because because 19 Keys be out here doing push-ups with rappers and stuff like that. And what's even crazier is that I did the 30 push-up challenge a year ago. And I was sending it to everybody. Me and Jason was doing it. Sean was doing it. Everybody at ABS was doing it. And now the BW was doing it. So I was looking like, hey, man, I was doing something right if they doing it now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But he be doing challenges with rappers. So I'm just waiting for Hov to step in because when Jay-Z get a wind of this, it's like that's the same wave he already be on anyway.
Right.
So imagine when they link up, that's gonna be wild. And I'm just gonna be like, yo, I was here the whole time. I seen it happen in real time. You know what I'm saying?
And it ain't no telling if they've already connected. That's the thing too. Right. We've seen Jim Jones, right? Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on. And Keys alludes to it in his lives. He's like, there's people when he talked about I think it was Game, who like didn't want to retweet him or whatever it was because and if it ain't Game, I'm sorry, but I think it was Game. But he talks about how they don't want to come out and show that they're in line with 19 Keys, but they calling him for advice, right? And so ain't no telling.
Same with Farrakhan.
Oh, well, exactly. But see, the covering. This is the other piece too that I believe, brother, is that the covering is coming off, right? And
people go ahead to choose a side.
Yeah, you just got to choose a side right now. It looks like right now it's the fake separation between vaccinated and unvaccinated, right? But that's a sign of truly. You pull that covering off, and it's really who's for the people, who's for righteousness, and who's unrighteous, right? And that's what's happening, And if all we got to do is keep living, and we're gonna truly see the bearing witness.
We're gonna reap what we sow.
Absolutely, and the teachings of Honorable Elijah Muhammad will not be mocked. His words, his books, everything is going to come into fruition. Hell, half the books already came into fruition.
And I was about to say it already has, and they have no choice but to bear witness, but they try to call it something else. Oh, intermittent fasting is good for you. Like, come on, man. He said this 70 years ago. Like,
come on. How do you to live? Book 1 and 2. Stop playing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious to me.
I was literally having a conversation with my cousin. He came in town a couple weeks ago for my grandmother's 100th birthday party, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I practice intermittent fasting." I said, "Well, you could have just listened to me 20 years ago, bro. Like, I can give you 2 books. Like, what are we doing? Like, but I'm happy for you that you just got on it because they said it. But come on now,
you still eating them pancakes at 4 o'clock though. You need to chill with those
at noon. Actually, you really eating at noon. Stop playing."
Right. then they be trying. Nah, but
right. Absolutely.
Try to lay claim to stuff that's already been, man. But that's what they do, though.
But we know what time it is, and that's the thing. The Devil's Rule, was ended in 1914, and so, Minister Farrakhan and the nation has been amongst us for grace and mercy. And everything is available for us to know. And again, if we're just not aligning up with the like minds, BWO, as I said before, is the arc next to the other arc, which is the nation. And again, you ain't got to be registered to be a part of the arc. You just have to follow the teachings of righteousness. And I just encourage us all to, find truth, find some information that you can latch on to, and get out of the horizontal plane of living. Right? Haven't we kicked it enough? Haven't we smoked enough weed? Haven't we drank enough? Haven't we? I mean, come on! Like, it's time to elevate, right, and do something different.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So,
Well, look, I appreciate you coming through the platform.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Let them know where they can go get the book, where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can support.
Absolutely. So I'm on IG. It's I am Faith PDX. So my initials Imani Muhammad. So I am Faith PDX. You can also find the book at the art. But let me just spell it out for y'all. So THE and then hyphen artofliving.net. You can also, if you need some shea butter, some black soap, some sage, some incense, some body oils, you go to travelingpillar.com. And that is my online business as well. I also do life coaching. I also run a nonprofit. Well, I'm the board of directors of a nonprofit that I founded. So yeah, I just, I'm your sister. You can also just go to the link in my bio, my link tree, and you can find all this information. But yeah, I appreciate you, brother. We need more people like you to just allow people to shine and spread their light. So I appreciate the platform. I appreciate everything that you do. And yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, sister. Thank you so much for sliding through, man. And this was episode 37 of Motivision. I'll let y'all. Yeah.
Peace.
Born, build or destroy. God, equality, power, culture, understanding, wisdom, knowledge, cipher. Get excited. This podcast was brought to you in part by Merch Life Publishing.